What's up, world? It's another day in paradise, or hell, whatever you want to call it. The title of this one is going to be called Karma. And what chapter is this? This is chapter 13. You know, like Friday the 13th. Y'all really going to enjoy this one. So, I know in my previous video I mentioned that I wouldn't speak about my ex's uncle, but there was some information that I forgot to reveal. So, this guy, man, when I was living in Connecticut with my ex, he would ask my ex to order him packages. He has two hands, a cellular device, and a mind. So if you have that, you should be able to order your own packages. Why in the world are you asking her to do it? Is he illiterate? Is he incompetent? Probably. But I know dumb niggas that know how to order shit. So I'm not understanding that aspect. And he will also ask her for our address. He already knew where we stayed in Connecticut, but then he even asked for our address while we were staying in Florida. And that's none of his business. So, this guy, he was real nosy. Just always wanted to be in somebody's business and figure out what's going on. And while he was in jail, he reached out to my ex, his niece. He asked for photos. And what are you asking for photos for? What kind of photos? Maybe family photos, maybe other photos, I don't know. But you got a whole bunch of other family in that house. You got like a family of 8, 9 in that motherfucker. So why don't you ask some people? We all the way in Florida, and you asking for photos. She's nowhere near the situation. So, with this guy, he was always looking for an angle. He's always looking for an invite, an invitation to get inside. You know? So, suspect. On top of all the things that I mentioned before. You know? And then, this guy, man. There was a situation where he robbed somebody, but they weren't home. He broke into their house, stole their belongings, which I believe was, you know, illicit things, paraphernalia, contraband, all that good shit, while they were away. And I heard that this person told the authorities on this guy, the uncle, but I'm not sure. I received this information from a third party. So I can't tell you how true it is, but I believe it's true. And when I rob people, I always was upfront with it. You know, I'll come to you. There was a situation where I was in Connecticut and there was this kid, he lived in my apartment complex in Avalon. I'm gonna keep his name private because I respect him. And I apologize. I didn't want to do this to him, but I did because I felt like I had to. And I was short on funds, I was young-minded. Let me get this tea out the microwave. that shit hot. I left it in for like 5 minutes. I like my shit burning hot. See, who do you know that makes videos that's this interactive? I'm in my house and I'm really thugging. So I'm gonna let that cool down. But yeah, it was a scenario with this kid, and we weren't that far apart in age, but he used to sell, and he lived in my apartment complex, and he kept getting booked for his shit. Niggas kept robbing him, so I'm like, shit, let me come up too. And I was wrong for that. But yeah, I approached him, I reached out first, and he moved out of the complex. So I waited until he left the complex to do what I had to do. So I reached out to him, said I needed this, that, and the third. I hopped in his car. Before I hopped in his car, I met him somewhere. Then I hopped in his car, and he showed me the contraband, and I said, look, if you want, you can fight for it, but either way it goes, I'm taking it. And he just looked at me, and he was like, you serious? I'm like, yeah, man, I need this. So I robbed him in the most polite way that anybody ever could. And I could have punched him, I could have broke his shit, but what was the point? I was already bigger than him, stronger, so I would have just mopped the floor with him. So I just took his weed and I went on about my day. But if he ever sees this, I want him to know that I'm sorry. And I don't think that's funny. Because see, look at me. All that robbing I did, it caught up to me. I got cut later. So, yeah. Karma always creeps up. So for all the wrongdoing, best believe you gotta pay. You gotta pay the price if you wanna play, man. So that's real. So yeah, man. And it's crazy. I ran into that same kid while I was working at Buffalo Wild Wings, right across from the Danbury Mall. I ran into him maybe a couple of months to a year later, and he came in with family. That might have been his older brother or a cousin. He had like 2 people with him. I was the host, so he was the first person I seen, coming in the door, and vice versa. He coming in and he see me, he like, what the fuck? And I had to seat these dudes. I'm picking up menus and looking around and giving them a booth. I had to hook them up, So that was my way of kind of apologizing to him. And I couldn't say anything with people around, but I'm pretty sure that he mentioned it to his people like, yo, that homeboy that robbed me. But it was kind of hard to differentiate me and all the other people that were robbing him. So it was like, give or take, it could have been me, it couldn't have. So, but yeah, that was fucked up right there, And if he wanted to, he could have plotted, he could have lied, he could have did a whole bunch of shit. But man, shout out to you for, taking your shit on the chin like a man. I really think he was more gangster than anybody else. And he's not, the biggest, boldest, toughest dude, but man, he was silent. So those are the ones you gotta watch out for, But yeah, shout out to him, man. He kept it thorough. And I did too, because I could have harmed him and I didn't. And I feel like that's what made that situation easy. So yeah, wherever you are, I hope you got one on you, because I do. And it's not for us. I ain't got no problem with you, but I'm talking about if you still doing what you doing, hopefully not. Hopefully you clean now and doing what you gotta do the right way. But even so, keep that on you, man, because it's getting crazy out here. Word. So yeah, that was the situation. And also, while I was in Connecticut, I got into 3 car accidents. So, best believe my karma caught up to me. My first car accident, I was working at the Cheesecake Factory with that guy that I told you about, the manager. His name was Sam. And he taught me a lot within that short span of time that we worked together. And like I told you, he became one of my customers later down the line, but he kept owing me bread, so I cut him off. He kept taking advantage because he knew me as an employee. So yeah, while I was working at Cheesecake Factory, I was a dishwasher there. You know, busboy, all that dirty shit. I was mad than the motherfucker. I was working from 5 in the evening and leaving that motherfucker at 1 in the morning. So I would never do a job like that again. But it's experience. So hold on, man. You got these motherfuckers doing landscaping, man. I need to close the motherfucking patio. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's much better. That kind of reminded me of that video when I was doing the Harden Park, and you had the dude doing the landscaping and you know cutting grass. He was just all in my shot. I'm like, what the fuck? But hey, I live in nature. It's better than being in the Bronx, right? I suppose. So back to what I was saying. I got into a car accident working with one of my coworkers. He was a dishwasher too, and we were heading to somewhere in New York. I can't recall. I know it was like the suburbs, maybe like 40 minutes out from Danbury, Connecticut. And we was driving, and on our way back, you know, the driver, he decided to speed up a merging ramp. You're supposed to do about 20, 30 miles per hour. This guy was doing a full-blown 40 to 50, maybe even 60. He was trying to impress us, you know. And that guy was stupid, man. I don't even know why the fuck I was hanging with him, but I was younger. When you're young, you do stupid things. So, yeah. And he hit the ramp. He hit the guardrail. That shit fucked up my back. You know, I was in the back seat, and I felt all the impact. I ain't had my seatbelt on, and my back just, you know, brushed back on the seat, popped back and forth. I thought I might have broke something. I went to the emergency room that same day, and they told me that I was fine. I just had like a lower back strain, and I recovered from it, but it took a minute to recover from that. Luckily, I didn't have to get surgery, and luckily, I ain't fucking pop out that vehicle, you know. And my second incident was when I was driving my ex's mother's car, and we were at an intersection in Danbury on Main Street by the Walgreens. If you're in Danbury, Connecticut, you know what I'm talking about. That light is havoc. So I had the right of way. I can't remember if I was going straight or if I was making a turn. I had a yellow. Yeah, I had a yellow and I was going straight. And I'm going through it, and then there's a woman, an Indian woman, and she just cuts in front of me. She sees me going, and then she crashes into me. And I was driving my ex's mother's car, so I was fucking mad about that shit. Cause like, I wasn't even up like that. I was still working at Buffalo Wild Wings, you know, developing my clientele. You know, I'm just starting off. So I wasn't making no buku yet. So I'm like, dang, you know, but that wasn't severe. The first one was severe, but the second one wasn't. And, you know, I'm with my ex at the time. We just in the car looking stupid. And yeah, I should have just fucking sat at that light, even though I was at a fucking yellow. Yellow means slow down. Should have slowed the motherfucker down. But you know, coming from where I come from, New York, we gonna speed through the yellow. We gonna get through. We gonna get where we gotta go. So yeah, you know. And then there was a third situation where, you know, my Jeep. I was heavy in the game, doing what I had to do. And I was driving from Danbury to New Milford. It's about 30 minutes out. So I'm looking at Google Maps and GPS. It telling me to go the different way that I usually don't go. So I'm like, fuck, maybe it's traffic. So it telling me to hit a U-turn and go the other way. So I'm like, fuck. So I just do an illegal U-turn, blind U-turn, not looking at the oncoming traffic from the other way. And, you know, I turn. So and I got hit, and that could have been severe. The car was fucked up. Like the whole front of the car was fucked up, the tire was fucked up, but I was good. And the other party was good too. It was a white man, a white woman. And they were cool. And I was in the wrong. I was at fault. Man, I was young, man. I was young getting it. And when you're young getting it, you're not thinking, you just think about getting it. So, yeah, that was my third time. I'm not doing any more car accidents, I'll tell you that. So yeah, in my life, I've been through a lot of pain and hardships. So, plights. But we're gonna fly over it like a flight. I always, came up on top. So and let me take you back to the Bronx. So it was one time I was in the street doing what I was doing, and there was a transaction made, but I didn't benefit. It was a kid, I'm gonna call him a butt tooth, fucking rat face looking motherfucker. It was him and the guy that's from Stevenson Commons. The butt tooth, he was from the hill, from Castle Hill, and he was with them Stevenson Common dudes. But I met them in the hill, so I didn't know they were that tight. But Castle Hill and the Commons had some type of relationship. So I'm like, okay. So I pull up there, and he said he was gonna buy from me. I believe it was like a 3.5, and I had like $4. I ain't have it bagged up, so I gave him the $4, and then I meet him in the building, outside the building actually. It was like halfway up Castle Hill. It was right by Stevenson High School. So I meet him, and then I see somebody from Stevenson Commons. So if you see anybody from Stevenson Commons, you just know it's gonna go bad. So whoever's watching this, if you see anybody from Stevenson Commons, just dodge them. It's always a line, it's always a setup. So I'm like, okay. I see this guy, and he looking at me, giving me this mischievous smile, just fucking snake, stupid motherfucker. I can't ever see that nigga again. See, like I said, there's certain dudes I can't ever see because I'll just shoot them, So that's where I'm at. And yeah, I could fight, but I'd rather just kill a nigga. I don't give a fuck. I'm a positive guy overall, but once you take me there, it's over. And even when I was doing wrong, I was genuine, if that makes sense. But I try not to. I try to stay on a clear path, especially going towards my future. So, yeah, the motherfuckers ran off of my shit, went back in the building, ran up a couple flights of stairs. I already knew there was no getting to them. And I wasn't carrying at the time. And I came dolo, so it was like, I'm already outnumbered. What the fuck am I gonna do? So that was a bad situation right there. But best believe karma caught up with those guys. I know they did. And Butttooth, he was cool with my big homie, which I don't understand. My big homie, he's YG, and the nigga is YG and Crip. You see what I'm saying? Yo, the Bronx is fucked up. How you got niggas in 2 gangs, and he's probably in 3 different gangs. The way the neighborhoods are set up. So yeah, this guy, he put me on, and he was cool with the Butttooth kid. And the Butttooth kid would usually come to Harden Park and play ball, and that's where I met the big homie at. And big homie, he played ball over there all the time. But Butttooth, after he did that to me, he never came back. And I was hoping he would come back because I was gonna press him and I was gonna break him down. I was gonna beat the shit out that nigga. But he never came back. And I never seen him again. And this is a segue into the people that I develop relationships with. So, and then, the big homie, I wanted to tell him about the situation, and I might have told him, and there wasn't really any solution behind that. I think I might have told Flip, before I told, the big homie, because see, I trusted Flip, you know, the big homie, he just put me down in the set, so we didn't have a deep relationship. I don't know if that would have helped me or not. It could have backfired. So, I did the right thing by telling Flip. Uh, see what I'm saying? So the big homie, he was in like 2, 3 different gangs, and then Flip, he just flipped from one gang to another. So I'm around these mixy cats, man, and this is why I say stay out the streets, cause if they doing all that, they'll flip you. So you know, here's a segue. You know, like that's why I said, I'm not fighting no more. I'd rather just take a hat. I don't give a fuck. I'm done fighting. I know how to fight. I know how to defend myself, but I'm just pulling out my gun and shooting if I know a threat, is ominous and is presenting itself that way. So, while I'm in Connecticut, somebody reached out to me from the neighborhood. I'm gonna call him Billy, because, he was a gang member, opposite gang member, but we were all cool. But he reached out because I was being hot and belligerent, posting on my social media account. I was brandishing weapons, so he reached out regarding that, just on some cool shit like what's going on, how you doing, shit like that. So I'm thinking shit copacetic. I'm like, all right, straight, cool, all right. But it was, a situation where I owed him money back in the day, and I was in high school, and I apologized to him for it. So, I thought that squared it away, because, I don't like owing niggas bread, and niggas robbed me. It wasn't like I just was on some dust ass shit smoking, and niggas came up on me. So I let him know the situation. He was aware, and we had a relationship. We was hanging out doing things with Flip, so that's what we was doing, and this guy, man, Billy, he reached out to me, told me he want to hang out. I'm like, okay, what you want to hang out for? And he was saying, he want to just get drunk, get high. He want me to pull up to his crib. So I'm like, all right, bet. But I already told you I'm not too fond of niggas like that, Like back in the days, it was times where I was in his crib, watching Bag Up. He even had a house party, brought the neighborhood out, shit like that. Like, man, I was cool with Bloods, I was cool with Crips, I was cool with everybody. So, we had a relationship, and it was cool. But, he asked me to pull up, he wanted me to get drunk and high. I'm like, I ain't really feeling this crap. I haven't seen you in a long time. So I'm like, all right, I agreed to it. But I didn't go. He told me to park at a stop sign. I was acting like I was going there, and then he told me to park at a stop sign. So, and these guys, man, the guys I was around, these guys are alleged killers. I never seen niggas put in pain like that, but it's a possibility. That's all I could say. And I was hanging around gangster niggas, and these niggas is evil. So it's possible that he could have caught one. So I'm like, man, I haven't seen this nigga in forever. And then he told me to pull up at a stop sign. You're not gonna tell me to find a parking spot on your block somewhere, or you gonna tell me to park at a stop sign? That shit was hot. I wasn't jacking it. So I'm like, nah, man, I ain't pulling up, And then I decided to do my own research. I'm like, nah, let me pull up to this area another time. So, I'm figuring this shit out, figuring the map and all that. Cause I'm like, man, was this nigga trying to kill me? So I'm like, shit, man, I'm fucking around smoking, nigga. I don't give a fuck about nothing, Cause I'm like, man, fuck that. So I told him, like, man, yo, look, man, I'm not going out there, my bad, So I'm like, yo, meet me in Connecticut. But when I told him that, he said, nah, he can't do that. But you got a whip and all. So why you can't meet me in Connecticut? I wouldn't have done nothing to you. Shop Warren, he's genuine. So I had no reason to slime you out. But once again, you was cool with Flip. Even though y'all different gangs and all that, but y'all had a relationship. So Flip, he already flipped on me. So you might have been doing a favor for Flip Or he might have flipped on you and you might have just did something to me to make Flip feel something. However it would have went, Flip could have backdoored me again, or you would have backdoored me just to get Flip angry. You see, it's two sides to that coin. So I'm like, man, meet me in Connecticut. And he was like, nah. So that let me know that you didn't have good intentions of just, having a good time and vibing. So I'm like, nah, let me map this shit out. And I'm like, man, fuck with it. I pulled up over there another time and, I seen him, you know, but, he had a crew with him. So I'm like, nah, I ain't gonna do it because I don't know the outcome. Then I gotta shoot the whole block up and there was police there. So I'm like, man, it ain't even worth it. So I'm gonna let these niggas deal with their pain. Man, let me close this motherfucking door, man. Everybody wanna ruin the message today. So everybody wanna ruin the message. That's cause I'm spitting that pain. So I'm like, yeah, yo. So I didn't have an angle to work it. So I'm like, man, I ain't gonna do nothing. I left it at that. But once again, I can't see him either. I don't hate him, but it's like, I feel like I had to make a move just to show niggas like, yo, the same way you wanna hunt niggas, I can hunt niggas. So, yeah, man. And it's crazy, man. I was cool with this guy. And I even went to the projects with him and his mans, I'm gonna call him Stone, because he was hard. He was another blood member, I ain't had no problem with him. We even been in situations together, you see what I'm saying? So we in the projects. I'm not gonna talk what projects. I ain't gonna get that in detail. But we in the projects with Flip. There's another dude, Dominican cat, I'm gonna call him Suave. He had the long hair, and, he was on his pretty boy shit. So yeah, and we in his mom's spot and we drinking, having a good time. You see what I'm saying? I'm dancing with Suave's mom, Rico Suave's mom, and yeah, man, we had a good time, vibes was cool, and then with Billy, it was times we was in co-op, had Red Lobster, shit like that, got the biscuits in there, and I don't know if he was just trying to butter niggas up, see what I'm saying? Just like, with Prey, you see, we buttered up, butter an animal up before we kill it, you see what I'm saying? So, I don't know what that nigga was on, son. And he was always on some evil shit, so it's like you just couldn't trust him. Even Flip couldn't trust him, And there was times with me and Flip, we was outside, we was on the block, and Billy, he always showed a lot of love to Flip, but it was kind of like he ignored me, and I don't know what that was about, But I told him I was trying to be blood first when I first met him. He was like, you don't want to do that. And I'm like, well, why? And he was just saying, you don't want to do that, And I'm like, well, that's not really a reason, But now I see why, because, Bloods, they always slime each other out. So there was a hidden lesson in that too. So, yeah, man, I was hanging around some, devious cats. Just the most malevolent people, Yeah. So, trying to think, man. Yeah, it was times where we was in co-op and we almost got shot at because they were just trying to, create a scene. Like I actually had beef, in my neighborhood, and I'm rolling with these cats. And they older than me. They was all like 3, 4, 5 years older than me. I got actual beef. Y'all going to co-op to start beef with niggas. Y'all go on to stores and shit, and then talking shit to one of the young niggas outside, or it was an older dude actually, talking shit to one of them. And I'm like, what the fuck? I think, Flip, I think he swung on one of them or something like that. Or he pressed him or something like that. And then one of them tried to, back out on us. We in the whip, all this shit. So I'm like, dang, man. So y'all forcing situations, like shit happened to me by default, you know. But yeah, man, y'all niggas is tweaked out, man. But yo, I fuck with Co-op, man. Uh, I fuck with Hunts Point. You know, I fuck with the South Bronx, Southern Boulevard. I fuck with Eden Wall. You see what I'm saying? I fuck with Pelham, even though I have my situations with them. I fuck with Eden Wall heavy. I never had a problem with y'all. That 5 line, I never had a problem with y'all. You know, fucking with the Jamaicans out there. I never had a problem with y'all. You know, yeah, yo. And it was one time I was attending St. Raymond's freshman year. Speaking of karma, right? I don't know what to call this nigga, man. He just looked like a fucking snake. It was me and Bryce. See, I'm gonna say your name because we always kept it real. You see what I'm saying? I always used to play ball with you. Was solid. That's why I fuck with Edenwald, man. And that nigga was cool, man. He was just a ball player. He wasn't really a get busy dude, but I know if he had a fight, he would. See, so it was Bryce, and there was a dude named Federico. I'm gonna say your names because y'all was clean. You know, y'all wasn't street dudes. So Federico. It was one time we was all getting pizza. We was in this pizza shop, and it was an old woman just slumped over, and I think she died. Like she wasn't like sleeping, cause you know why would an old woman just be sleeping in the pizza restaurant? And you know the workers was trying to see what's going on with her, all this shit, and then the police just started coming, and this nigga Federico. Just fucking laughing, snickering. I'm like, what the fuck? Why the fuck this nigga laughing? Me and Bryce was looking at him like, yo, this nigga's smile. Like, yo, we didn't think that shit was funny. Like, we were just sitting there like, that serious. Like, and that's the shit that bite back. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that's a funny situation. It's crazy that it happened, and it's funny to think about because, like, whoa. Yeah, you could laugh nervously, like, oh shit, yo. I mean, even I wasn't laughing. He was dead ass laughing, Federico. So I'm like, yo, nigga, tweet. You see what I'm saying? I'm like, nah, man, nigga tripping, nigga bugging. I ain't jacking that shit, man. Cause that same shit could happen. You could step out the motherfucking pizza shop and get smoked. You could get ran over. You get stabbed. Shit, New York. You see what I'm saying? In the boogie down Bronx, anything can happen. So it's like, yo, his karma. I haven't seen him in a long time, so I don't know what his life situation, his struggle is. But karma, man, that shit creep up on anybody. And like I said, them past dudes I was talking about, man, y'all gonna have to deal with y'all shit some way or another, you know. And like I said, y'all ain't hurt me, but I seen the traps, so it's still an attempt to me. So with that being said, going forward, we have to stay clear of each other. Cause if I see niggas that try to put my life in harm's way, I'm going to clear. I'm not gonna think, I'm not gonna hesitate, I'm going to clear. Y'all ever watch The Walking Dead and that dude Morgan? He just started clearing shit. He wasn't even thinking. And that's what I'm on right now. You see what I'm saying? I gotta do what I gotta do to preserve this body, preserve this flesh, and stay sane. So I'm like, nah, man. This shit crazy out here, man. So, to summarize this video, karma always revolves. Everything that you put out there will come back to you. Now, there's ways you can dodge it and, avoid it. But it's still tough, man. So, close this video out. Y'all have a good day. Keep it smooth. Stay on your pivot. It's a dangerous world.